Ready? All right, please stand. And as Sandy makes her way to the podium to join us in the prayer and the pledge, if you have a guest today and you haven't checked in with Allison, please let her know. For the sake of time, for the president and for our two new great members, we're going to have Sergeant of Arms announce guests today. So, Sandy, who heads up our membership education, would you lead us in prayer and pledge, please?
I will. Please bow your heads for the invocation. God of our lives, thank you for all the blessings and opportunities that you've given us. The blessings of 1.2 million Rotarian brothers and sisters, the opportunity for us to stand by each other and make big changes that affect the less fortunate around the world, the opportunity to be your hands and feet in service. Guide our hearts to where you want us to focus our time, energy, and efforts. Bless the food and the hands that prepared it. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thanks, Sandy. Also, thank you to our Rotarians in service today. Our greeter, Mr. Everything. Where's Mike Sanders? Thanks. And Carol Wright, our registrar. Let's give them all a round of applause. So for just a moment here, next week's speaker is going to get a special plug. We're going to pass around, and then we'll come back to club announcements in a moment. But last night, Janet Yow's team at the Edmond Economic Development Authority, I was there. Rodney Armstrong, one of our guests, was there. Jessica was there. We heard from the Lieutenant Governor, Matt Pinnell. There's already over 250 people signed up for the Route 66. We're going to hear about it next week from Jennifer. This is our chance in Edmond to serve others, to be service above self. And I'm going to ask everyone to really think about what you can do to volunteer. We're going to start one going this way. We're going to start one going the other way. And then you'll see the rest of the speakers there. But Jennifer will be here next week. If you're on Zoom and you can help volunteer, this is a big deal, okay, that the Lieutenant Governor wanted this event in Edmond, and we're going to do our part as leaders of this community to roll out and help serve others. We do not have a My Rotary story this week, but just a reminder to see Keith May. Those are always special and important. And you'll see the rest of our upcoming speakers. We're going to introduce our two new members. Would they come on up, please? We have Cody, Krista, Rhett. Come on up. And I'm going to start introducing Rhett here while Krista will come to the podium. Yeah, come on up. Come on up.
Did you make that big one? No, I have short legs. Okay.
Everyone in the club's had a chance over the last year to see how the club's really flourished, especially when we pivoted and went online. We had 9 new members that joined, and they were not in person. So we're excited to have these two as we go back in person. You've all had a chance to meet them before. A little bit about Rhett. He's a financial advisor with Raymond James here in Edmond. He graduated from Oklahoma State, originally from Amarillo, Texas. Before that, he also practiced in Tulsa as a CPA. So it's going to be great to have Rhett, his time, his talents, his energy. In his free time, you can catch him outdoors with his bride, Mary Ellen. They enjoy to golf. They also like to go mountain resorting and hiking. Outside of their time they spend with their friends, also they spend a lot of time with their local church crossings. They volunteer, do a lot of things around town. They also have a 6-month-old puppy, Ruby, And Rhett, we're so glad to have you. And Krista, would you please come forward and introduce Cody?
Pleased to. My pleasure to introduce Cody Hardy, which all of you all know. She has been coming to our club as soon as she moved here from Albuquerque. She is a financial planner. And so we get two new ones here to help all of us with our financial needs. She has two teens, Morgan and Cooper, at Memorial, and she works at Creative Financial Strategy. Her hobbies are that she likes to run, cook and bake healthy foods, and drink an occasional whiskey. I give you Cody Hardy.
First of all, Krista, thanks for all you do for our club, just to breathe into new members and young people in our community. And for those of you that haven't, just a reminder, July 1, we started the Each One Bring One. So if you haven't brought a guest yet this year, you have until June 30th to do that. And we encourage you to think about somebody that you think would benefit from the relationships in this room. So Cody Hardy, Brett Schumann, you have been selected to become members of the Rotary Club of Edmond as a representative of your particular profession. While it is an honor to have been selected, Rotary is also honored by your willingness to become involved and to serve others. As a member of this club, you will have the opportunity to serve the public through various programs and activities, not only locally here in Edmond, but worldwide through Rotary International. If you are willing to be an active participant, please say, "I am willing." I take pleasure now in welcoming you as our newest members of the Rotary Club of Edmond and Rotary International. Thanks for all of you. It's been great to come out to all those events. You guys go this way. Congratulations. You want to say anything real quick? You want to say anything? Okay.
Nobody wants to hear from me.
So they both said, because they've been out serving and signing up on these sheets, nobody wants to hear from me. They've already seen me and met me. So again, welcome, both of you. We're glad to have you and all the great things you're going to do for Edmond. Club announcements. I want to start, kind of take podium privilege here for a moment. My bracelet was from an event 2 weeks ago that is important to Amzai Gregory and his family, to Chris Kohler. It was the Maisha Project. And I know that a lot of people in our club are familiar with that. And before we get into the rest of club announcements, Dr. Shrum, I know that that's important to you as well. So we want to take a moment and show you how we partner here at Rotary. Just a reminder that our club has supported Maisha in the past with district grants for the bathroom facility. Maisha Project houses and educates hundreds of orphans and widows. They have a large school, a dormitory, and a clinic on site. They do amazing things in Kenya, and Beatrice, who runs it, is one of a million. A lot of us in this room know Beatrice. So Dr. Shrum, we know that they are near and dear to your heart, and our club wants to recognize them and let you know our connection. Thank you again for being here today. Other club announcements. Thanksgiving basket collection, again, November 10th. You can donate and we'll buy a turkey or a ham. You saw on the email the items we need. And again, that's for the kiddos over at Sunset Middle School and their families. We already talked about Cycle 66. I hope there's some ink on those pieces of paper, and we'll have Jennifer here next week. Turkey Trot is always a highlight for the Rotary Club of Edmond, and I see Councilman Moore is pumping it up. The face painting, you saw that in the email. If your business or your family is looking to host an event, you want to have face painting, I'd encourage you to patron the gentleman that I had in the email. He volunteers his time, and let's face it, the Rotary Club face painting is always the hit of the Kids Zone at Turkey Trot. Backed by popular demand, and we're all going to clap for Jessica. Rotary Trivia. December 1st, the epic online pivot where we all met and had just a great day of competition in our chat rooms with our teams. I still think Chief Younger's team was stacked at the City of Edmond, but we're not competitive or anything. Rotary Trivia is back December 1st. There will be opportunities for scholarships. So thank you again for our new members that were inducted. I'm going to ask Andy Lester to serve as Sergeant of Arms, and he will also introduce today's guest for the sake of time. Thanks, Andy. Thank you, sir.
Well, welcome everybody. First, let me introduce guests. We have quite a few. It's great to see all of you here. I'll just go down the names if you'd stand, and let's applaud for all of them at the same time. Darren Helm is here. Laura Boggs is right here at the front table. Rodney Armstrong is visiting today. Jason Ramsey, also at the front table. I worked with Jason for a long period of time when I served on the A&M Board of Regents. Let's see, Sarah Kate Hudson is here. Saxon Alden, where I haven't seen, oh, there's Saxon, good to see you, Saxon. Darla Hill, Susie Buxton, Tim Dorsey. I haven't seen Tim Dorsey for a long time, which has generally been a good thing. Robert Riggs and Danita Rose. Please welcome all of these to the Rotary Club of Edmond. And then we have a visiting Rotarian, retired from the Lawton Club. Please welcome Mark Norman. Hi, Mark. So, with that taken care of, if you forgot to wear your emblem or couldn't find it, you owe me $1. If it's your birthday, and what you're supposed to do is that's $1 per year. But if it's your birthday, you owe me something. If in the last couple of weeks you've crossed the Red River and watched your team beat Texas, you, especially if they did it in the fourth quarter, you owe me $1. I had the pleasure of getting to do that this past weekend, and sat right next to our guest speaker. Who also did that, but you don't owe me $1. We thank you for what you did, but she did a great coaching job down there, I'm sure you all will agree. And if for some reason you didn't, Krista, Natalie, wear orange today. But black doesn't do it. Orange. It's orange power. If you didn't wear orange today, you owe me $1. Are there any announcements? I'm going to go this way and come back around. Any announcements? Any dollars? I've got an announcement back here.
$1 and a brief announcement. As you know, we are smack in the middle of the Mexican Baptist Drive.
Thank you.
It's our middle school. Last year, I believe we raised about $1,500 somewhere in that area, and we right now are sitting at $350. There are jars on every table if you'd like to contribute, and in addition to that, there are bags, I believe, on every table. We need 20 bags filled. So if you'd like to sponsor a bag, please take a bag. The list of what you need to bring on by is in it. And also, of course, you can Venmo to, is it JP or Venmo? Venmo? Certainly do that. We also buy, in addition, buy a $25 gift certificate for them to recipients to buy for the church. So please keep that in mind. We need your help, and November 10th is our drop date.
Other announcements? $4. Thank you.
Someone left their tickets on the table, Dr. Allison, if you didn't.
Josh gave me more than $1 for his birthday. He's getting pretty old, it looked like. I do notice that his birthday is the same as my dad's, who is an honorary member of this club and used to be an active member of this club. I think, based on what Josh gave me, that he's not quite the same age as my dad, who on October 24th will be 96.
Oh.
But
Fellow Rotarian Mark Jones could not be here today, but he wanted me to remind you that from 6:30 to 8 on Thursday, downtown Edmond at Commonplace Books, he will be signing his book again, Peculiar Activities. And if you haven't read it, it's really, really good. I encourage you to go visit Mark and support him.
anything else? Y'all are very generous. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Andy, for all you do for the club, a former president too, and for our community and our state. And look at that wad for the kids in our scholarship fund. You may have heard Allison mention that somebody forgot to pick up their tickets. And I have $1 that I'm gonna throw in for Scott Streller, better late than never, buddy. So I'll pay your fine. We love you. Spent some time in college with Mr. Iva, Scott Streller. We're glad you're here late, buddy. I got your $1. So. For Krista and my Bedlam friends on the other side of the aisle, I'm so excited to announce that in the first quarter, my good friend, Dr. Jed Freeman, who's the director of the OU Harold Ham Diabetes Center, will be our speaker. So we're excited that Dr. Freeman has agreed. He's working out the details with Andy, and it's going to be pretty powerful and impactful to hear all the things going on down at the OU Health Sciences, and specifically from the man that's in charge of leading the Harold Ham Diabetes Center. And then I think with that in mind, we're now to the funnest part of the meeting where we get to say hi to our friends on Zoom. So wave, and Jessica will rotate the camera. Keith Kirsten, Christine Meredith, Linda Bakes, Cynthia Ormsby, Dawn Mamer, Barbara Dimashow, Ray Hibbard, Scott Kopenbarger, Jordan Malwick, who helped us get all this technology, Jordan. We appreciate you, buddy. And Susan Hoover. Let's say hi to our friends on the Zoom. We're glad to have you join us. And with that, just a reminder, the club, the board, we're committed to offering Zoom through the end of the year. We felt it was important to be compassionate when we went back in person as the vaccine was being rolled out. We also feel, though, it's important to be convenient for the people that want to be members of the club. And so if you have thoughts one way or the other on continuing Zoom after January, see me, see Beth, see Chris Berry. We'd love to hear them, the good, the bad. We're going to take it all into consideration. One thing that we are going to do, though, if you think about being an impactful leader, sometimes when people step back, there's always somebody that's ready to step up. So I appreciate Beth for the last couple of weeks as I was juggling some things at the bank and with family stepping up, but we're also going to allow Jessica to step back. So if we continue Zoom, I think it's important to think about, pray about, and be strategic about how you can step up. We've seen a lot of people as chiefs step back and sergeant at arms. Now we have a wonderful committee that includes Andy and others. So we're going to get a committee if we continue it. But again, we want to hear your thoughts. We want to be open to what's best for the membership, and we'll be deciding something soon for the board. So again, welcome to those on Rotary. If you want to keep it going, we want to hear from you, and we want to also have you volunteer to help so we can keep it going. Jessica, thanks for all you do. We appreciate you. I'm going to ask our friend, your president-elect, your Madam President-elect, OSU alum and current OSU mom, Beth Kayse, my dear friend, to introduce our speaker today.
Thanks, James. I'm a little shorter here. What an honor today to get to introduce our speaker today. The little paragraph you have on your bulletin does not do her justice. Neither do my notes either, but I'm going to do my best. On April 2nd, 2021, the OSU A&M Board of Regents selected Dr. Kayse Shrum as the 19th president of Oklahoma State University. President Shrum is a native Oklahoman. She earned her Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine degree from the OSU College of Osteopathic Medicine and has completed executive leadership and management training programs at Harvard University and Stanford University. In 2013, Dr. Shrum was named president of OSU Center for Health Sciences, becoming the youngest and first female president and dean of a medical school in the state of Oklahoma. In March 2019, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt appointed her to his cabinet as Secretary of Science and Innovation. During her time in the cabinet, she led Oklahoma's rapid response and COVID-19 testing expansion across the state and advised state leadership on COVID medical and protocol guidance. President Shrum also helped secure a landmark investment from Purdue Pharma in the amount of $197.5 million to create a center of excellence in addiction treatment and studies to address the opioid addiction epidemic in Oklahoma, called the National Center for Wellness and Recovery. During her tenure at OSU CHS, she has made addressing the healthcare workforce shortage in rural Oklahoma a top priority. President Shrum launched award-winning high school recruiting programs like Operation Orange and Blue Coat to White Coat, established the rural medical track curriculum, and expanded the number of residency training programs in rural Oklahoma by securing support from the Oklahoma Legislature, Oklahoma Health Care Authority, and the Oklahoma Tobacco Settlement Endowment Trust. With all of these accomplishments, the future is a bright orange under Dr. Shrum's leadership. What's most impressive to me as I list all these notable achievements is her commitment to students and their success. And this is where I go off script. My daughter is a junior at Oklahoma State. She is a sorority sister of Miss Boggs right here as well. I took the opportunity to ask her and a few of her friends what they thought of Dr. Shrum. And here's what they said. And I am quoting 20-year-old girls, so bear with me. You can tell she's really down to earth, like someone who would put her arm around you and ask how you're doing. Another said, there's a different vibe on campus with her there. We loved Burns and Ann, but she brings an exciting energy. And the last and probably my favorite, I mean, she has the best style. She's so cute. Dr. Shrum clearly exhibits the Rotary philosophy of service above self to our state. As a Rotarian, this speaks to me, and I thank you. As a parent of a student, I thank you for your leadership, the humanity that you bring to each and every student. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Shrum.
Well, thank you for that introduction. I love hearing from the students, and I have something that wasn't in there. I have 6 children. So they ranged between the ages of 20 and 24. So I lived with that age range and really enjoy being around them and having college students myself. I think, you know, it's part of what makes me enjoy what I do is being able to interact with students. So it's great to be here with you all today. You know, I'm about a little over 100 days into my tenure, and one of my very last conversations I had with Burns Hargis before we transitioned, he said, "Don't worry, Kayse, nothing happens in the summer. It's going to be..." Well, that did not hold to be true, but we started out with a bang, and I'm very excited. It's been wonderful. I never dreamed that one day I would be the 19th president of Oklahoma State University. It is quite an honor and a privilege And, you know, as most children do, I went through many iterations of what I wanted to be when I grew up. I happened to be the youngest child, so I had older siblings, and my oldest sister told me throughout my whole life, I'm going to remind you forever what you wanted to be when you were growing up. And so I've just decided as you know, I got this job, that started to resurface, so I'm just embracing it, sharing it with people, so it'll just take it out. But my first aspiration was to be a horse jockey. Now, you can tell by my size, that was going to be a challenge, and the fact that we didn't own horses. We had no horses. So she liked to tease me my whole life. So I'm thankful that at, you know, one point early on in my college career, that my professor encouraged me to consider medicine as a career. I'm a first-generation college graduate, and I don't share that with you because I want to imply that I had a rough childhood, or that, you know, college was, you know, a way for me to have a better life. I grew up, you know, in a very loving home, and I, you know, like to kind of give people an idea of, you know, what I think my family life was growing up. And I would say it's probably close to the Walton family, if you're old enough to remember that show. I lived very close to my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my aunts, my uncles. Didn't have Jim Bob in our family, or Joe Bob. You know, so for me going to college, you know, I wasn't going to college to get away from anything. I was very comfortable growing up and feel like my parents gave me all the love and support and skills that I needed to be successful in life. What really pushed me out of my comfort zone and to pursue a career or to pursue an education, which led to my career, was college softball. I was a softball player, and I wanted to continue playing, and that brought me to get an education, and that education transformed my life. And I spoke for just a second about a professor encouraging me to go into medicine, and that's really, I was walking out of class, he asked me to stay afterwards and asked me if I was going to medical school. That little brief encounter changed my life. And that is, you know, partially why I'm here in a way to give back. Having those interactions with students are so important because you just never know when that is going to change the trajectory of somebody's life. It can be a very simple conversation like my professor had with me. So I am so grateful for the education that I have and what it's afforded me throughout my life. And I started at Oklahoma State University in 2002 as an assistant professor in pediatrics. I'm a pediatrician by training, and spent many years there, almost 20, and served in many capacities, leadership roles, the last being the president since 2013 of the Center for Health Sciences. During that time, my understanding of the land grant mission really grew, and I learned how transformative it could be, not only to our students, but our community, our state, and our nation, when our education and research align very closely with the needs of society. I mean, I think we all know, you know, there are many challenges that higher education face today. Affordability, relevance, the changing needs of the workforce, rapidly changing technology. However, I'm a strong believer in higher education and that it is more relevant today than it's ever been. And we, as higher education, need to embrace those challenges and push ourselves to think beyond the box, to think into the future, and to anticipate what we need to be. What I bring to the leadership of Oklahoma State University is a willingness to dream big, and I truly have a passion for our land grant mission and an appreciation of the power it has to transform lives and communities when we work collaboratively and in step with the society's needs. OSU has a strong student recruitment base here in Edmond and a very strong alumni base. And I'm committed to making Oklahoma State, and I know we have some OU fans in here, but the public research institution in the Edmond and Oklahoma City area. Really in line with our mission, I'm committed to working with businesses, industry, and philanthropy to really focus in on what are the needs here in Oklahoma in various industries and in society. A prime example, I think this is something that I worked on in my previous role, but to give you an example of what I believe we can do when we all work together, and is a real example of a public-private partnership with philanthropy, the city, the state, the federal level, to really solve a need in a way that truly benefits the education and research of the university, but really solves a problem. Just happened last Friday. You may have heard in the news where we broke ground on a new VA hospital in Tulsa. We had a big vision to expand our academic health center campus in downtown Tulsa. And one of the pieces of that was a new veterans hospital with research facilities, as well as a new mental health hospital. And it truly is a public-private partnership. We began working with the Zero Foundation to vet this idea and really discovered, yes, there is a great need for a veterans hospital in Tulsa. As we were sitting there breaking ground, I was having some conversations with people who are around, and one of our regents shared with me, he said, yeah, I remember when you started talking about this, we were okay with you working on it, but we never thought it was really gonna happen. And I told my associate when I sat down, I said, this in fact is proof that we aren't hallucinating, we actually have a vision. So it was, a very exciting time, but what happened in that process was we solved a need for veterans, but it will allow us, and for mental health in the state, but it will allow us to expand the number of residents that we can produce. So more doctors in the state means more access to health care for all Oklahomans, more opportunities for education and training for our students, and more collaborative research. And so that is just an example, I believe, of what can happen when we're all together pulling in the same direction to solve problems. Another example, I believe that we have the potential to, if we dream big and we bring on the right partnerships and we're solving the right problems, is the Baker Hughes building that was donated to OSU in the Oklahoma City Innovation District. That was a gift to us. It is a wonderful facility, and again, is a strategic point for how do we utilize a resource that we have in a way that benefits our students, our research, but furthers what we need to accomplish for the state of Oklahoma. Aligning a need with expertise is what we want to look to do in that facility. And of course, OSU Oklahoma City. It's not new to me, having worked in the system for 20 years, but it's new under my leadership. We have a new president there. I'm very excited about what Scott Newman brings to that role in the way of workforce development and partnerships with industry. I think he's going to accomplish great things there and will be an important piece of a system-wide strategic plan as we start looking at that. Our mission at Oklahoma State, I believe, is very clear and more relevant. I think that land-grant mission is more relevant today than it ever has been. And my vision for OSU is that we become a thought leader for higher education, and that we are the premier land-grant university with academic programs that meet the needs of workforce. As I said before, I couldn't be more passionate about that mission and the elements, the teaching, research, and service that I think make the university unique. We have so many endless possibilities to explore how education and research intersect in a way that serves the state. We have, as a part of a land-grant university, an extension arm, and that means we have a presence in all 77 counties. That is such an opportunity to have an incredible impact, not just at the university, but across the state, and reimagining how we engage with extension in those communities to build and continue to build relevance within those communities is so important. The first step in becoming a premier land-grant university is to invest in our employees, our students, and certainly investing in research and engaging with industry in meaningful ways. Cutting-edge research and education doesn't happen without world-class facilities that help us to recruit the best and brightest faculty, staff, and students. And I think we have done a tremendous job at OSU. If you haven't been on campus in a long time, it is beautiful. You should come visit. And some great examples of that are the Greenwood School of Music, the new McKnight Center, which hosts the New York Philharmonic 3 times a year, and they come and they're in residence. And our students, they teach master classes to our students, and a select group of our students will get to go do an internship in New York. Those are just some of the exciting things that can happen when you have world-class facilities. We're in the process of building our new Frontiers Ag Hall, and that's going to be, again, a great place to inspire innovation and bring in some great collaborations. All those things require bold vision and leadership, and I am very fortunate that I'm coming into an institution that's had great leadership in Burns-Hargis, and there's a great foundation for us to stand upon and dream big. As we look to the future and really think about how we utilize our core strengths, I think it's important that we as a university use a common sense approach for the common good in uncommon ways. And I think there was very great examples of that during the pandemic in how we stood up testing lab very quickly with our research and academic expertise that we had. I'm very aggressively pursuing funding that will allow us to continue to grow and shape our research capabilities across the university. Now, as we go into it, we know that there are priorities that we have as a strength that we want to continue building on. As the Secretary for Science and Innovation, one thing I heard over and over and over again is we need more STEM graduates. So STEM education is an area that we see as an opportunity to really have an impact for the state of Oklahoma through a pipeline for teachers, professional development, outreach, and continued partnership with K through 12 in various school districts across the state. One area I don't know if everyone's aware that OSU has expertise in is aerospace. Every year, universities get together and they compete. And so here's a little unknown fact. MIT brings their competition group and names their drones Beat OSU. That's a true story. We really have been national leaders for a long time in that realm. And we recently announced the Oklahoma Aerospace Institute for Research and Education. So we intend to grow in that area in our education and research and growing with industry partnerships. That is a big industry for the state of Oklahoma and lots of opportunities for aerospace to grow and for us really to be the largest nexus of aerospace industry in the United States. Energy research, of course, energy is important to the state of Oklahoma, and that's going to be an area of strategic focus for research, looking at reliable and affordable energy. Agriculture, cornerstone of Oklahoma State. We've always been leaders in wheat crop production as well as sod, and we will continue to place an emphasis on agriculture. Health is an area, obviously, that's near and dear to my heart, and looking at how we can integrate that across the system as well. OSU has a very unique assets in the fact that we have a medical school, a vet school, and an agricultural college. When you really start thinking about health, all three of those are so important, and that's become more evident as we've gone through a pandemic and how closely those are tied. So that is going to be an area of focus, as well as addiction and pain research, as was mentioned before. Our strategic plan, I've been talking about that quite a bit, and that's going to be launching later this year. We really are wanting to create a far-reaching and deliberate plan for what OSU will look like in the future. So over the next 9 months, we will be engaging in structured and system-wide process of listening. I certainly want to place an emphasis on listening and understanding those that we're talking to as we start to develop a plan. That will include Stillwater across the system and everyone within the Cowboy family, from alumni, donors, friends, and students. An important part of the process, as you've heard me say several times, is industry in discussions with partners to really understand how we can make that process easier. What are the important aspects of an education? What's the workforce need to look like in the future, not only from an educational perspective, but what are the competencies that the workforce needs from our graduates, and how are we going about making sure that all students have those competencies when they graduate? This is a place, I think, where you all can help us in the future, is because we want input from small and large businesses, from industries, all industries, so that we have a broad perspective and really an accurate view of what the needs are of the workforce in Oklahoma. We're currently forming groups, and that will help us to kind of guide in the process and allow people to engage so that we have broad input. Of course, strategic budget and a fundraising campaign are a natural outcome of that process. And everyone knows my predecessor was a very good fundraiser, and he always made the joke that one day if he had a statue on campus, it would have his hand out. And so I told him I'm going to ask them to put it right outside my window so I can look at the actual technique and how you do that. So I will be following in his footsteps. But I do, as as I'm going into this leadership role, I do acknowledge that we have challenges. But I have never been a believer that challenges define your future. Challenges are opportunities to reshape your future, and we will use that as an opportunity to determine what Oklahoma State University will look like. And I believe that we are going into an era that will be the brightest ever for Oklahoma State University. So thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today, and go Pokes. Sure, absolutely. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Congratulations, I'm really glad. I think it's about time that they came to one with congratulations to Regents. I'm really impressed, and I'm able to like great ceilings or past, but I'm more interested not in the past, but in the spot. What's you leave behind? Who you bring along? Who you can encourage? Is there any, I don't know if you have that noodle around or formalized yet. Can you have some kind of path to bring other people along who deserve a shot at leadership?
Yeah. Well, I have not developed that here in this particular role yet, but mentorship has always been something that's important to me, because I believe anytime you've been successful in life, there are plenty of mentors around you that have guided you along the way. So in almost all programs, for example, Blue Coat to White Coat or Operation Orange, those programs were all about creating mentorship opportunities. At the university, at the Center for Health Sciences, we did create a program that was intended for people who wanted to go into leadership, and didn't necessarily have to be selected, but it was a process for them to learn about leadership, to engage with leaders. And one thing that I've always done is keep my door open for any students that want to come visit with me. I've told my office, if a student wants to come see me, we'll make it work. And that's something that I've continued even on campus, and do intend to form some mentorship programs there as I've kind of moved, out of a closer to the students in an educational role now, and as the president. I think it's important to be very intentional about that, because you don't have as many face-to-face opportunities sometimes as you'd like.
Dr. Shrum, I've got a senior in high school that's going to be headed there next year.
Okay.
For going to be in College of Engineering. Any special engineering projects? I know you mentioned the Aerospace Institute. Anything else upcoming for College of Engineering?
Well, the College of Engineering has been very involved in a lot of our STEM initiatives. So, that's one area. The aerospace is very large. And as we kind of move into the strategic planning process, I think there are some really great programs within engineering that can be utilized, really across the system as a model for things that we need to be doing. But Dr. Tukowski, great leadership there, and that's really going to be a key. I mean, we know we have to grow the number of engineers in the area of STEM, data science, those areas. So engineering is going to play a big role in our academic programs going forward.
What else? Dr. Shrum, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jay, led engineering school is impressive, and your son's going to do great things. I got one here from Spears that's done some great things too, so enjoy the ride. Dr. Shrum, as we think about service above self and the partnership to collaborate with the business world to make society better with mental health for the veterans, for the students, but just being a mom of 6, you represent everything great about service above self. We're honored, we're humbled within your day 100 that we got to spend a little bit of time with you here in Edmond. So in your honor, we're going to donate a book to the Ida Freeman Elementary School. And Native American Captive is the book that Dr. Shrum picked, and we love every week to kind of tell everybody. She says, dream big, never give up, Kayse Shrum. So we're honored to have you here today. And also, if you can help us for our scholarship drawing, we're going to draw a ticket, and the money goes to kids here in Edmond. We give out 4 scholarships a year, $1,000 each. And the last 4 numbers is 4481, 4481. 4481, going once. Councilwoman Caldwell, we'll wait.
It sure
is. It? Okay. All right, so when I was gone, Chavez picked, there was 40-something cards in the deck, the King of Diamonds. And Jessica and Beth really wanted to change it to the Joker for me. But we're looking for the Ace of Clubs.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna pick a hard to get to one.
Oh,
So close.
not even close at all. However,
Oh, chocolate.
there's a chocolate of your choice. For those of you that haven't been up to the McKnight Center, so I will say we're 50 minutes away here in Stillwater. So when the New York Philharmonic comes, they literally stay. They mentor to the kids. They hang out at the coffee shops. They sit on the street. It is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, an easy ride up there. And it's some neat stuff because you don't have to go downtown and fight the traffic at the arena here in the city. Lastly, we also had Tom Johnson and Dale Schaefer join us on Zoom. Again, Dr. Shrum, to spend a little bit of your first 100 days, thank you. We're all encouraged by your leadership. We're excited to see what you're going to do to make the state better. And with that in mind, everybody please go out and be great Rotarians.